All right, welcome to Maths TV. My name is Evans. I'm still your mathematics facilitator. We are here once again. We have this question before us. One of our students was finding a little bit challenges in solving this question. So let's see how best we can help our dear student. Okay, yes. So let's quickly go through the question. We are saying that a boat is on the same horizontal level as the foot of a cliff. The angle of depression of the boat from the top of the cliff is 30 degrees. If the boat is 120 meters away from the foot of the cliff, illustrate the information in a diagram, and we have to find the height of the cliff and leave our answer in three significant figures. So we'll not waste my time. Let's quickly look at how best we can solve this question. Okay, yes. So we are going to take this picture. Okay, we are going to take this picture. Now let's identify this as our boat and this as our cliff. Okay, so if you can remember, you realize that in the WASI 2025 we got similar question, but in that case we had two different fishing vessels. Yes, but this one we have only one boat. Okay, so it is the same thing. We are applying the same concept here, the same idea here. Okay, so we are talking about angle of depression. As I said, that for angle of depression, if you stand on top like this, the eye or the eyes focus straight like that. The moment you decide to bend down or bring the eyes down to look at an object downwards like this, there will be an angle formed. And that angle is what we call the angle of depression. So the angle of depression, we are saying that it is the angle between the horizontal line of the sight or of your sight and the line of your sight to the object. Okay, so that angle which is formed there is what we call what? The angle of depression. So in the question, we're giving 30 degrees as angle of depression. Then let's also identify the height of the cliff. That's from the top to the ground. And then we also identify the ground level, the horizontal distance from the foot of the cliff to the boat. Okay. Yes. Now you realize that there's another angle formed at the ground level where the boat is. Okay. Now the angle of the depression alternate the angle at the boat on the ground level. Okay, so that one will also give us what? The same angle as what? 30 degrees. Okay, yes, it will give us 30 degrees. So once you have this one, then you are good to go. Now, in the question, we're given the ground level, the distance between the foot of the cliff and the boat was given as 120 meters. Okay, let's also identify the height, but in that case we are not given the height, so we use h to represent the height. Okay, yes, that is wonderful. Good. Now once you're able to identify all this part, remember in the question we're asked to illustrate the information in a diagram. So if you're able to do this one, then you are good to go. So this answers the first question. Okay, so if you do this nice diagram, then you are done. Let's quickly look at the eye. Okay, let's look at the eye. So you see now the shape is in this form. The shape is what? A right angle triangle. Okay, yes, that is what the shape now. So you know a right angle triangle, we have this part as what? The hypotenuse. Okay, and then we also have this as the opposite, and then we have the ground level as what? The adjacent. Yes, so these are the parts, and you know when we're doing Pythagoras theorem, you know the concept how we solve it. But once we have this angle there, then we are going to employ the use of these three basic angles of trigonometry. That is the sine, the cosine, and the tangent. Okay, and in that case, we are going to employ what we shorten it to see the SOHCAHTOA. Yes, this is the term most of the people use. They recite or mention this one so that they don't forget. Okay, so we are going to use the SOHCAHTOA to solve this one. All right. Yeah, so for the so we have what we mean, the O stand for opposite, and the H stand for the hypotenuse, and then we also have the K, which is what, the adjacent and the hypotenuse, and then the O opposite. Yes. So when you see S, S means sine, C means cos, and then T means what, tan. So that is what we are going to use. All right. Now, so the three, we don't know which of them we are going to use. Now, if you look at the first one, that is SOH, you realize that we are supposed to use opposite over what? Hypotenuse. But do we have any figure or anything? No. But we have opposite as what? H. But our interest is not. Now, most of the time when you are solving right angle triangle question, you are using Pythagorean theory to solve, and you consider parts where you are given figures there. Okay, so we realize that we don't have any figure at the hypotenuse. Doesn't mean we can't solve that area. We can solve, but that's not our interest. Our interest is on the height. So we look at the CAH, adjacent and what, hypotenuse. Okay, so that one too, you realize that still hypotenuse is not still working. Then we look at the last one, TOA, that is TOA. So we use what, the opposite and the adjacent, because we are looking for H, and then we are also given what, 120. Why are we using this one? Because of the angle 30 given. Okay, because of the angle 30 given. If we had been given the hypotenuse, they will not even worry ourselves to use this angle. We can even use the Pythagorean theorem to solve this one. But because we have an angle there, we can also use this principle to solve. Okay, so if that is the case, we realize that we can identify the opposite and the adjacent, and it goes with what, the TOA. So that is what we are going to use. It means that we are going to use what, the tan of the angle, which is 30, is equal to the opposite and the adjacent, which is 120. Okay, because we are looking for H. Then we just do our simplification. Okay, we find tan 30 and multiply by 120. So when we find tan 30, we are going to get 0.57735. We have approximated it. That's not all. Okay, then we multiply by 120, and then we are going to get what, H approximated to. So we have 69.282. Okay, yes. But the question says we should leave our answer to 3 significant figures. So when we are leaving our answer, we start counting from left to right. Okay, so we start from the 6. We count what? 1. We move to 9, and then we count 2. We move to the next number which is available, and then it is 3. So it means that we have been able to get the 3 numbers. These are the 3 significant what, figures. But remember that once after that 2, okay, after the 2, that makes it what, the 3 significant. You see that from there we move to 8. Once you realize that that number is greater than 4, then you add 1 to the 2 to make it 3. You round up. Okay, you round up. If the 8 were to be 4, okay, or 3, would have written the 2 as it is. But once it is greater than, it's more than 4, then we add 1 to the 2. So we are going to have 69.3. Okay, and that gives us our answer, and that is the height. So therefore we can conclude that the height of the cleft is what, 69.3 meters. That answers all. Okay, so my dear students, my dear learners, that is how you go about it. If that's the case, I don't know whether how we are able to solve this. You are okay with that? If you still have any challenge, if you still don't get anything, you can still contact me, and we see you through. Okay, yeah, so if that's the case, then let's end here. But don't forget to go to my YouTube channel, my TikTok. Kindly subscribe, like, and share the videos. So see you next time. Bye bye.